No, here's what
Linda, here's the paper.
I'd like to call the organizational meeting for year 2023 to order. Ask everyone to please rise for a moment. Would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Thank you.
Apparently all legislators are present.
This time of the call our county clerk, Marilyn Farrell, up front to administer the oath of office for legislator Lucas.
Definitely better looking than the last guy.
Oops.
Fuck are these people? Hello?
Somebody's here on the phone.
What?
Somebody's on the phone.
I'm Joseph John.
Tuesday, the state of New York.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Greene County Legislator, District 1.
I will, you got the total.
That I will faithfully
That I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the Greene County Legislator, District 1.
under the
Greene County Legislature,
Greene County legislative duties of District 1
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Sign your life away.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Jack.
Thank you.
We gotta read. Delay.
Seems like a delay, you're right, Harry.
Yeah.
All right. That's out of the way. Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Jack.
April.
It's a repeat.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me? Can you turn down the brightness on your tie? Sorry.
Oh,
Oh, who is that?
Mike Ryan.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Turn down the volume on the TV.
We're under delay here with speaker.
Yeah, okay, now I can hear you guys.
thanks for the nice article, Mike.
Guys and ladies, you're welcome. You guys do good work. And ladies. I mean, guys, generically.
There's 3 of us now, buddy.
Too late now. Too late.
Yeah, but that tie is blinding me.
Which one, Charlie's?
Yeah.
Put sunglasses on.
Okay. Good enough.
How come it's coming through that?
Resolution number 1-23, adopting rules of order, moved by legislator Overbaugh and seconded by legislator Rivera.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 2-23, reappointing historian, moved by legislator Overbaugh and seconded by legislators Kendall and Light.
Second also. Second.
Lennon.
I'd like to second that as well.
Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 3-23, authorizing blanket bond for all county employees, moved by legislator Martinez and seconded by legislator Overbaugh.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's carried.
Resolution number 4-23, designating official newspapers, moved by legislator Martinez, and seconded by legislator Hobart.
I'd like to second that.
Second.
Handle. Lennon. Overblock. Linder. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's carried.
Resolution number 5-23, designating official bank depositories, moved by legislator Davis, and seconded by legislator Rivera.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's carried. Short and sweet, I guess the formalities out of the way. I have some of the appointments this year. Most of them are the same as what we finished 2022 with. The appointment of parliamentarian. As chairman of the Greene County Legislature, I hereby appoint Greg Davis, parliamentarian of the Greene County Legislature, to serve at my pleasure during the 2023 year. Thank you, Greg. At the appointment to the Altamont Fair Board, chairman of the Greene County Legislature, I hereby appoint Michael Pulich of Catskill, New York, to serve as an associate director of the Altamont Fair Board of Directors for the year 2023. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Have appointment to Cornell Cooperative Extension of Columbia and Greene Counties. As chairman of the Greene County Legislature, I hereby appoint Sherry B. True to serve on the board of directors of Cornell Cooperative Extension of Columbia and Greene Counties, and Matthew Rivera to serve as alternate representative for the year 2023. Thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Appointment to the board of directors of the Greene County Economic Development Corporation. By the authority vested in me as chairman of the Greene County Legislature, I hereby appoint Linda H. Overbaugh to the board of directors of the Greene County Economic Development Corporation for the year 2023. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Pat.
Designating the designated official of Republican paper to publish election notices and official canvasses for 2023. We, the undersigned Republican members, and thus constituting a majority of the Republican members of the Greene County Legislature, do hereby designate the Mountain Eagle, a newspaper serving Greene County and fairly representing the principles of the party to which we belong, as the county official Republican newspaper to publish the election notices and the official canvass for the year, for the 2023 year, signed by Ed Bloomer, Mike Bueller, Patricia Handel, Tom Hobart, Joe Lucas, Matthew Rivera, Carl Martinez, Linda Overbaugh, James Thornton, Sheriff Drew, Patrick Lincoln. Well done, Mike. Still in there somewhere. Designating the official Republican paper to publish concurrent resolutions and laws for the year 2023. We, the undersigned, the majority of the Republican members of the Greene County Legislature, do hereby designate the Mountain Eagle, newspaper serving Greene County and fairly representing the principles of the parties in which we belong, as the Republican newspaper, publish concurrent resolutions and laws for the year 2023. That's signed by Ed Bloomer, Mike Buelich, Patty Handel, Tom Hobart, Lucas, Matt Rivera, Charlie Martinez, Linda Overbaugh, James Thornton, Very True, and myself. Have designating the official Democratic paper to publish election notices and official canvass for 2023. With the undersigned Democratic members and thus constituting a majority of the Democratic members of the Greene County Legislature, do hereby designate the Daily Freeman, a newspaper serving Greene County and fairly representing the principles of the party to which we belong, as the official Democratic paper to publish the election notices and the official canvass for the 2023 year. Signed by Darrell Legg and Harry Lennon. Designating the official Democratic paper to publish concurrent resolutions and laws for the year 2023. We, the undersigned, a majority of the Democratic members of the Greene County Legislature, do hereby designate the Mountain Eagle, a newspaper serving Greene County and fairly representing the principles of the party to which we belong, as the Democratic paper to publish concurrent resolutions and laws for the year 2023. Signed by Darrell Legg and Harry Lennon. Standing committees are the same as 2022. There's no changes there. Anyone have any further business to come before the organizational meeting tonight? And organizational meeting is adjourned. Thank you. We will. You're ready. We can go to committee meetings tonight. We're advertised for 6:30. We will hold off until 6:30 to start the committee meeting. All right, we will move back into committee ones now. Health Services Committee.
Good evening, everybody. We'll open up Health Services Committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. First resolution, authorizing contract, Greene County Community Services and 2020 Recovery Services, Inc. and 2023 budget amendment.
Davis.
Davis. Handle. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Authorizing memorandum of understanding, Greene County Public Health Department and Catholic Charities of Columbia and Greene Counties Healthy Families Partnership.
Lavera, Lennon.
Vera and Hobart, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Area.
I got it.
Lennon. So sorry, Harry.
That's all right.
Find your voice.
A little water. Never heard that before.
Accepting minutes, Medical Professional Advisory Committee, Utilization Review Committee, April, May, and June Q2 2022.
Davis.
True. Davis, Hobart, and True, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Budget amendment, Greene County Public Health Department and Health Research Incorporated Epidemiology and Laboratory Capacity for Infectious Diseases, ELC, for coronavirus, COVID-19, prevention, reopening schools.
Davis.
True and Davis, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Is there anything else to come before Health Services this evening? Does anybody have any touch points? Laura, did you have anything you would like to say to us this evening? It's like, no. You don't have to.
Just that there's been a change in the way coronavirus cases are being managed in the county and state system that we have been automated when we do issuing isolation orders has ended as of the end of December. So it's really a personal responsibility issue from here on out. We are always available to talk to folks, to talk them through it. They can still register a positive case on the county website, and that will issue their quarantine or isolation order for themselves, so that they need it for their employer. But we are no longer in the business of calling the case.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for the update. Anything else to come before the committee? Okay. Motion to close, Bloomer and Hobart. We are closed. Is that good?
Thank you, Tammy. I'd like to call county resources to order at 6:34. We have 3 proposed action items this evening, but before we do, I received a call this afternoon from Joel Du Bois, who heads up soil and water. Asked if he could come here, answer any questions you may have. It's in regards to the ag district inclusion and maybe to put your minds at ease. So Joel, if you'd like to go up and field some questions, if there are some.
As Mike said, thanks for having me tonight, Mike. Joel Du Bois, Greene County Soil and Water Executive Director. We have made a request for inclusion in Greene County's agricultural district number 124. It was tabled at our last legislature meeting here. Everyone indicated there were questions that they'd like to see answered. I did reach out to everyone the day after the meeting with an email just to make sure everyone had my contact info and some of the basic information about the programming we do. I included a newsletter with the email. I haven't received any questions, so I thought I'd stop in tonight to make sure, see if anyone had any questions they'd like fielded, or otherwise to just share some more details of the programming we do and how important our plant material nursery is to the work we do with the community and directly with Greene County. So I'd entertain any questions first, if anyone has anything already on their mind that they're curious about.
So one of the questions that I had, what sort of discussions have been had with the town to mitigate any of the differences that were going on in citing this?
Sure, yeah. So we had submitted a set of preliminary plans to the town. They indicated we should go through into the site plan review process. We went to 2 hearings. It looked like it was going to go to a third, but the committee, the board, planning board there, didn't really indicate that they had any problems or that anything we were proposing was not something that was within the scope of what they allowed. There was quite a bit of commentary from the public. So that, and of course, that was hearing before that a lot of the folks were here at the hearing that month. But there wasn't anything in our proposal, number one, that would need an agricultural exemption to go forward. It all was, consistent with the site planning guidelines. As a result of all the outcry and everything, and my board was a little uncomfortable being in the hearings, I did reach out to them for clarification of the exception to the hearings that is extended in their law for agricultural use buildings and on working farms. It was a little bit unclear to me what agricultural use building meant. It didn't have a definition in their law. So I asked for clarification on that because, if there is an exemption, we were interested in reviewing it to see if we can conform to it. At that point, at the following board meeting after that, my board decided to just withdraw our application. But I never was given an answer to what's the definition of agricultural use building from the town.
There wasn't really any good faith effort in negotiating some way forward.
Oh, no, we have made a number of concessions, including changing our parking and driveway and parking area from a paved surface to a gravel type of form. And also changing the color of the building to match an existing building that's on the site.
What were some of the issues that were stopping the project? What were the main complaints? Was it going to exist?
Yes, yeah. The main complaint was that a couple of the folks that lived near there, the building was going to be in their sunset view.
There was also conversation about your drainage pipes, remember?
Yeah, and of course, we're in a drainage business and in agriculture and the rest of the work that we do, having some drainage assets on hand are an important part of the work. We are in the process. We had about 25 of those specific pipes that they were concerned about. And we have 20 of them set up into 4 lots of 5 pipes a piece that are about to go on to the Auctions International.
Yeah, I drove up the next day and looked at it. So I see what you're talking about.
I do have a air photo here, and out of the 12-acre parcel, the area that the pipes are stored is about a 1,500 square foot area of the 12 acres.
Is there any way those pipes could have been stored towards the back, behind something, so they weren't visible?
Well, I mean, depending on who you are, they are in the back.
Yeah.
I mean, there are buildings on
To the left,
multiple sides of this. So, if one person doesn't look at it, another person does. And the only areas where no one would have to look at it are in the floodplain, where these pipes could be picked up by floodwater. And, that would be dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
I think my only issue with that was that from what the other people were saying, it appeared that there had been many phone calls about it. They were told many times it would be moved and it wasn't. And it just seems like such an easy, good neighbor fix to move it and don't tell them, yes, we're going to move that. And then you don't address it. It just seemed like something so simple like that could have probably taken care of some of the issues and would have made life a little bit nicer. And I think at this point, you probably lost their trust in saying, yes, we're going to move that after multiple phone calls, they weren't moved. And so I think I just kind of have an issue with the trust thing that they obviously have.
Right. I mean, but we do own the parcel. We own the pipes.
Mhm.
I mean, it honestly is such a small part of the parcel. It just doesn't seem like a reasonable request.
But then why tell them, yes, we'll move it?
Yeah, I didn't tell them.
You're gonna auction these pipes off?
Still there. Yes, they're about to be on the Auctions International.
So they're not really anything we would use, whether they're,
No, we do use them. We're gonna have to buy them again.
so why auctioning them off, if they gotta buy them again, they're gonna be more expensive later on.
Right, we're capitulating.
Joel, I wanted to ask you about the wells. People brought up that there was perhaps going to be future water problems. Do you know, can you speak to that? And are you planning to drill a well on the property?
If we end up building a building, yeah, we would need potable water. The water for our irrigation, though, doesn't need to be potable. Like I said, we're envisioning something more like a large concrete vault that would be a shallow water. This is right on the edge of the Batavia Kill. So the soil where we're working is extremely permeable, would be essentially connected right to stream water or water that's subsurface below the stream, but not anywhere near the 100 feet to 200 foot kind of depth that potable water comes from in someone's well.
I think that was one of my concerns, is hearing, from the town itself, and I think we should get clarification from the town. Is that something that the town planning board or zoning board had concerns with, that they brought up to you?
Yeah, they did. And frankly, this is a water rich area. It's limited water isn't usually a problem we deal with.
I know the one question, Matt, you asked it was the water, so, and I know you had stated at the public hearing about a cistern for irrigation. Well, were you looking to do, were we gonna do drip irrigation?
Yeah.
That's the most
stuff
efficient.
that's outdoors right now, we use, overhead sprinklers. Part of the plan would be to put up some temporary hoop house style greenhouses, and the irrigation in there would be more like a misting system, very low yield.
Okay.
That's less effective when the plants are outdoors, so. And temporary. Do not include a foundation. So it would be up year round. Yes.
Now, also there was something that came up, a landowner adjacent to that property, or I believe, and it was an issue with soil and water in itself about damaging their property. And I just want everyone in this room to know that I've served on the Soil and Water Board for 7 years now. And that was the first time that ever came up.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where that came from. I would imagine that if this was actually a situation, something reasonable, that we would have heard it a long time ago. Jim, I don't know if you in your 4 years it's come up.
Just during this whole session.
Just this, that's the only time this has come up. I want everybody to know that, whether it's valid or not, just, you need to know that.
Yeah, so we put $1 million into the reach of stream that's behind the folks that were complaining. The initial project was built in 2001 for about $600,000. And we've done 3 rounds of repairs there that account for the other 400,000+. As recently as 2016, it's been retouched. Now, part of it, I think, is a misunderstanding. The banks that folks have complained about are low banks, maybe 3 feet high, that are, scoured at the toe or vertical. Those aren't the banks that this project was intended to address. There are, at the time we started the project, 40-foot high mass failures, just mass wasting, landslides. And those 40-foot high failures are the bank problems that this project was built to address. If we were to approach it that every 3-foot high bank that has scoured the toe needs money put toward it, literally every linear foot of stream in Greene County would warrant intervention. So, we need to look at this as a water quality issue, not just I don't like the way that bank looks issue. That's not where this money comes from. The money we have to do these projects comes from a water quality mandate for New York City's drinking water. So if a problem, even though it may be erosion, if it's not eroding fine colloidal clays, if it's eroding instead sand, gravel, low banks, that generally doesn't warrant the kind of intervention that going in and grading banks and hard armoring banks entails. It amounts more to a landscaping issue. And our program is not here to do everyone's landscaping forever after we do a project on site.
Do you have the ability with the plans that preliminary plans that you had drawn up for a building on that site and that total acreage that you can forward to all of us?
Yes,
In this
yeah,
room?
I do have a set of them here if anyone wanted to look at them tonight. I do have a link available. They're on our FTP, our file transfer protocol site. So I can email everyone a link to download those or view them right online. And I can send everyone that tomorrow if you're interested.
Everyone okay with that?
Just to summarize a few of the gross numbers. Again, the crux of this is our plant material center, so I'm going to try and focus mostly on that. But in the years since I've taken on the executive director position there, and that's 2020 till now, so 3 full years at this point. Projects, plants planted on projects with Greene County. And these are, for the most part, projects in partnership with Greene County Highway Department. 1,269 plants, potted trees and shrubs have been planted on projects with Greene County Highway, including County Route 78, County Route 17 that was severely damaged after the 2020 Christmas storm, and supplemental plantings back at County Route 78, again totaling 1,269 plants on Greene County sites. In the town of Windham, we've planted 1,525 plants, including at the Windham Path, Windham Manor riparian planting, Hayfield wedding venue, and again back at Windham Manor. And in Greene County as a whole, we have done 9,488 plantings through our CSBI project program. And then on restoration projects that we do in partnership with New York City DEP, we've planted 4,675 trees and shrubs. So in total, about 14,000 trees and shrubs from our plant material center that's in question here have been planted in Greene County in the past 3 years at no cost to Greene County residents or Greene County government. These are all funded by New York City water user rates via our partnership with New York City Department of Environmental Protection.
So what is the agricultural nature of the use for that property then? That requires this exemption?
Potted tree and shrub there, sir.
Which you're then using for,
I'm sorry,
which you're then using for what?
for these public benefit projects that I just listed. So again, County Route 78, County Route 17, several riparian planting projects.
4,000 trees came out of that.
14,000 trees in the past 3 years. Came out of that.
That explains the agricultural use.
Yeah, and this isn't something speculative that we expect to do down the road, or this is something we've been actively at for 15 years on that site.
Yeah, I don't, and this is my opinion only, but I didn't have a problem, I don't think, with the use on the property or any of that, but it seemed to me that the town and your board were this close to an agreement, and it just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
And then it never went any further for whatever reason. That's kind of what I was trying to get to. This thing just seemed to hit a wall and then didn't go anywhere further. I don't know if somebody on one side didn't reach out to the other or what, but it didn't seem like it was that far apart.
Right. Well, what I would say is that the intention, if you look at the Ag Markets Law 25AA, the intention is to shield agricultural operations from unreasonable complaints.
That's what it is.
Again, like I say, if you can look at this, they're not talking about this big black area. That's where we keep our plants. The mess that they're talking about is this black dot right here. And the rest of this is all preserved riparian area and forest and field. So, I think what we saw at the hearing was exactly unreasonable complaints about agriculture. And a great example of why we need protections of ag markets law and the ag district. But I'd be happy tomorrow, I'll resend that email with links to the plans. I mean, you know, like I say, the plans are here, but these plans aren't actually part of the proposal that we're talking about here today. The proposal we're talking about is simply inclusion in the ag district.
Which is all we have to decide.
Right.
I have a question for you, Joel.
Yes,
You guys own any other parcels in the county?
no,
Not saying like to just move those culverts, because Daryl brings up a pretty good point. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face to, you know, even if they weren't piled up, if you laid them flat on the ground, they're only sitting no higher than 18 inches.
yeah, so, well, they're 30-inch culverts, but there are 25 of them that we have in a stacked pyramid.
Can we-
Relatively neat.
Can't we move them to one of our highway garages? And you could get them when you need them?
Well, so here's the thing, they're actually owned by New York City DEP. And
Oh,
so
okay.
They're not for profit, they're not a county.
we're not a county agency,
I say,
but we can't just give things away anyway. We still need them to go through procurement and decommissioning.
I say.
So we either have to sell them. And when we sell them, we actually have to return any proceeds to our contract with New York City. So we won't even get any money out of the sale. It's just a matter of it's easier to have them on hand when we need them. Then especially with the supply chain disruption we've been seeing recently, to have to get them at a moment's notice. But again, this is one of the capitulations that we're trying to make this work.
Yeah, I'm
But
just
I
saying,
don't understand why you're gonna sell them. if
yeah,
you
if you
need
can just, if you put
It makes no
25 of them
sense.
and
I agree. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and it's why we've had them since 2006 and have not sold them or gotten rid of
So
them.
why are you gonna
We-
sell them now? Just find a better
We-
spot for them.
It's less of a problem for us to sell them than it is to not be allowed in the ag district. So it's two bad choices that we're making the better of two bad choices. We would like to be in the ag district and be able to keep our drainage assets. We put a number of culverts into Greene County highway projects. You know, just to go through some of those dollar figures. Awards to Greene County Highway.
I mean, I would think DEP would want you to hold them because inevitably, if they're the ones that bought them the first time, they're gonna have to buy them again.
Agreed.
So what I would do is contact DEP in like in the Tannersville area where they have the sewer treatment plant there. They have a lot of property there, a lot of open space that they could probably put it and nobody would see it.
All those sewer treatment plants are in the floodplain though, and if these 30-inch culverts were to get,
Not
What-
in Tannersville because where that bridge is, the stream's 30 feet below the bank.
yeah,
Because you come in and then it goes down to there's, that's a spot right there. I'd say if you could put them there. Truck them over
well,
there and you would need
I agree, you know, but were my decision, I would keep them. My board has decided they're to be sold.
that's fine. Several dollars to pick up dime, so.
No, I agree. It's not my decision to make. Unfortunately, I would by all means keep my decision. But just to recap some of the funding in the last 3 years. County Route 78 culvert. This is the culvert that drains a tributary to the East Kill, adjacent to the Colgate Lake Dam. We contributed $200,000 to the culvert part and another $200,000 to the stream bed stabilization upstream of that culvert. Those awards were both made to Greene County Highway Department. County Route 2 over unnamed Trib. This is a tributary to the Schoharie on the road that goes to the former Falky's Quarry, which is a critical asset when emergency response is necessary. We've awarded $50,000 for the design of that culvert. That's the full cost of the design and $200,000 toward the construction of that. Both awarded to Greene County Highway Department. East Kill stabilization near County Route 17. That was the blowout that happened in the Christmas 2020 flood. We've contributed $400,000 to that $1.4 million project. So a considerable part of that project cost has been borne by our programming. Again, $400,000 of $1.4 million. Of the total funding available in our programming, total funding available was $1.65,850,000. A little more than half of that whole amount has been awarded to Greene County. So this is an important partnership, I think, for Greene County Soil and Water and Greene County. We would like to be able to make our best effort to continue that partnership, and this plant material center is an important part of the support services we need to maximize those benefits.
Can you tell me when that auction is gonna go for the pipe?
Yeah, I'm planning to put them on the auction tomorrow, and I expect to close the auction in time for our first Thursday of February meeting.
And how would I find out what the site is?
It's Auctions International, same surplus site that Greene County uses. Also, I'd be happy to use the email I have on your on the list that I sent out. I can share a link to that.
I actually would appreciate if you send that to Johnny Barrel in the town of Hunter
Sure.
on his link, because they're gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm planning to put them in 4 separate lots with 5 pipes. So it'll be 5 30-inch, 20-foot long ADS corrugated plastic culvert pipes. And there'll be 4 lots, so as many as 20 will be purchased on this one. We also have 2 trucks.
And where are the trucks?
Where are they?
Yeah.
They're in the park in Carroll, at the Carroll County office.
What trucks are you? What trucks?
Chevy 2500s. They're old, rusty.
They're in the back there.
Yeah, the gold trucks.
Yeah, I see them every day.
Yeah.
Okay, those two.
Yeah, so those are going up for auction. They run and drive with a new battery.
Very good.
Anybody got anything else for Joel?
I do. I just want to point out one thing. Joel, you cited 25A.
Yes.
I just want to ask you, I don't represent you, but I represent this board, to make yourself familiar, please, with 25 AAA, which says in pertinent part of this conversation, that it's also the intent of the legislature to maintain the economic viability and environmental and landscape preservation values associated with agriculture.
Yeah, the vast portion of our parcel is preserved as forest and riparian area. I would also point out that Greene County itself has a right to farm law, 2002. And, Ag district inclusion is not required for coverage under that.
Yeah, no, I was kind of hoping that I would just didn't come back and say, you know what, we're good without this. We talked this over and come to an agreement.
Well, the coverage under the Ag district law goes beyond just building a building. It's something that we really need, whether or not we're going to build a building or even after a building. So it's really entirely independent of the building. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our proposed action items. First one is amending resolution number 439-22, appointing member to the Fish and Wildlife Management Board. I need a motion on that from Mr. Marlowe.
Second.
Second by Lennon. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Second one, appointing member to the Fish and Wildlife Management Board, our former colleague, Mr. Kevin Lewis. I'll second that. Any discussion on this one?
No, I mean, I don't. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Sorry, Mike.
Must be slow, there you go.
Appointing member, Columbia Green Workforce Development Board, Lavera. Lavera and Lennon. Any discussion on this one? Second, another with Overbaugh.
And Lucas.
And Lucas, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Anybody else have anything to come before County Resources?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Public Safety Committee to meeting to order at 7 p.m. We have two proposed action items before we get into there, into those items. In the 911 center, we have Danny King and Jim Perna to give their reports. Director Barrow will not be here tonight. I received a message from him earlier today. He's setting up some scheduling for training for annual fire stuff.
Good evening. Just a quick overview on the two resolutions you have. The first is purchasing the license plate reading camera system for the sheriff's department. We have a grant under our department, which we're purchasing a license plate reader that goes to the sheriff's department. The second item is purchase of the fire and law enforcement dispatch software. This will enable the dispatchers to better process calls under the fire and law enforcement, similar to the method that they use when they dispatch for EMS. I want to cover the quick numbers.
December has been a unusually busy month for us this year. The month of December, we ran 600 EMS calls, 278 fire, 1,327 police calls, and an additional 954 others. That's an incident in which a Greene County asset had not been dispatched either to the thruway or for public health, mental health, social services, calls of that nature. Totaling 3,159 calls. It's a 21% increase over December of last year. This past week was particularly busy. On Thursday, we ran more EMS calls in the hours of 7:45 a.m. to 2 p.m. than we typically do in a 24-hour day. EMS really was rocking. Friday, December 30th in the afternoon, there was a structure fire, Main Street, Caro. The heat from that fire damaged the fiber lines running along Main Street. It did not at that time interrupt any services of the 911 center. However, once the repairs began and started, fiber lines had become damaged, taking the majority of our radio towers offline. That happened right around shift change, 8 o'clock. Our day crew held over to help with the increases. All of our backup communication plans went into play using I Am Responding, the mobility side of our CAD system, telephone lines, staffing fire companies. Those repairs came back on to bring the mountain towers back up around 10:30. Yeah. And then by 10:45, we were fully operational.
Lots of policing.
108 pairs times 2.
Oh my God.
So it was a busy day, but it all worked out.
Jim, I was listening to the, when you guys had a problem when your radios went down. I was listening in. You know, there was a lot to undertake during that whole event. You guys did a great job. The local fire departments did a good job too when they manned their stations. So you guys did a wonderful job in a very difficult situation.
We took 75 calls in that short period of time and nothing got dropped. So
Very I think staged across the county. Sure, some areas to go.
I also seen the command center vehicle. You guys had that out front. So, you know, you did good. Tough situation.
It was a nice effort.
Question?
How are we doing with EMS and EMT recruitments and all that?
No, well.
I mean, I think that needs to be a discussion that we need to continue having. I know we talked a lot about it.
I called Ray Mauer this week to see where he was with the grant that we gave them, how many classes he held, did he have money left over, how much did he get reimbursed by the state? And does he need an additional funding for 23? And we're playing tag. I did reach out to him.
Yeah, I think he had 8 out of the 10 in the last place.
Yeah.
That we did.
And are we still having issues at the hospitals?
Yeah, they were full diversion the other day.
The diversions continue.
New Year's Eve with it.
But I think we had asked for like CMH to maybe talk to us about that, or?
Well, they just went through transition with the retirement of the longstanding CEO and the handoff and my call has been.
It's every hospital too, it's not the CMA,
Right.
Med, GA, even Kingston now.
They're looking for more government funding and. Read an article on it.
But that's our closest hospital, so I think we really need to say and let them know that we hear that there is a problem and we need some answers. You know, how are they addressing this crisis? And then we can't just keep saying, well, there's staff shortages. We have to do something about that somehow. So we all have to put our heads together to come up with a solution. Not going away.
Anything else?
Yeah, Dan,
We don't have enough teachers.
with these license plate readers, is $48,000 for a license plate reader?
Yeah, I mean, I can't explain all the details, but there's a lot that goes into that. And I don't know, Derek, do you have any? There's a lot of components. Oh, wait, hang on, I don't know which. Maybe on the wrong.
We're not gonna say anything now.
This is all federally funded through a grant.
Correct.
All the maintenance fees with the unit, the actual physical component is 48,000.
Where are you on the 48?
I'm looking at maintenance fees for public notification, maintenance fees for responder notification, maintenance fees for sheriff's office phone app, incident management system fees, total 48,000.
I'm not sure what you're.
The agenda.
Oh, so that's the total grant. Okay, no, okay, I got it. So that's the whole, that's what's being spent out of that grant in general. There's a lot of different elements in that grant. That grant is not only for the license plate reader. There's a lot of our normal operating services that are grant funded. So that's there.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
Dollars.
Yeah, but why is that showing one unit, $48,160?
Oh, on the LPR?
Yeah.
line? Okay, yeah. No, because there's a second one coming to you next month, right? The second one that'll be coming next month is actually a mobile unit that's attached to a trailer and a speed sign.
Okay.
The thought process there is that law enforcement can use that better at events when vehicles are pulling into park or whatever that they came up with. My aspect is really just managing the grant. Okay. So, I don't know if people.
Somebody needed money and found it.
We don't currently have it.
Right? We do.
We do have these. We have one.
This one is the second one, the one he's talking about in the future is the third.
Right,
Which will be on that sign with telling you your speed limit.
Speed limit sign.
right. And that had to wait till next month just due to the procurement rules and the timing and the quotes and everything else that we couldn't get it done for this month.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Right along.
All right. Before I lose total control.
You did already.
Sheriff Kuzminski,
Another fine mess you got us into town.
those things are handy though. Like, if there was people speeding and they put one of those out, it remedied the problem.
Yeah, I love them.
Big brother.
Thanks for handling that SDR stuff. That's good. Good evening, everybody. So for the month of December, we had 130 civil attempts, 84 civil papers served, issued 98 traffic tickets, investigated 48 traffic accidents, made 28 arrests and 3 DWI arrests. We handled 569 calls for service and made 165 traffic stops. On December 1st, the starting jail population was 39. On the 31st, it was 35, the high for the month being 39. Corrections officers did 25 transports traveling 722 miles, totaling 40.5
hours moving 28 inmates. We currently have 2 state-ready inmates in our custody. In addition to the crazy month that Dan described, we sponsored a toy giveaway at the office, which had over 200 student or children in attendance. We handled a horrific plow truck accident in Cooksaki, which resulted in the death of a local Gadsden man. We also handled a serious child abuse case, which resulted in the arrest of the subject for predatory sexual assault against a child, rape in the first degree, and course of sexual conduct against a child in the first degree. And he's currently in our facility. Just this past Sunday, we were called upon to assist with a tugboat fire in the river just south of the village of Catskill. Since our boats are now housed in Charlie's favorite facility, which is heated. They were,
Thank you, Charlie.
thanks, Charlie. That boat was able to get out there within minutes and assist in the rescue operation.
See, Charlie?
We found out we had the only boat that wasn't winterized at the moment, so we're, wow, good thing.
Not winterized.
Also, Dan mentioned the state law enforcement terrorism prevention program grant for the full amount for the purchase of this particular unit for a car, the mobile one, for $14,946.74. And that would be our second unit. We have one that's about 8 to 9 years old now, and this one will be our second one. And we're also did apply for that stationary one, which will be in a trailer with has a radar unit.
So they're pretty reliable.
They're last. They will, as you're driving down the road, they read the plates, they've run them. Anything hot, either stolen, suspended, expired.
Amber Alert too, right?
It alerts. Yeah, it alerts.
So that goes to Albany, and Albany advises the jurisdiction.
It goes through a network. The state has a network of
Yeah,
these things.
They advise the jurisdiction.
Yeah. And it's lightning fast.
Yeah, it is. What about the trailer? You're gonna be able to move that around the county?
That's the plan, is to put it, we have one now, but it doesn't have an LPR in it. It just
Right.
does speeds.
Right.
But even that thing is very helpful to us, because people call us with speed complaints. We put it out there and it'll tell us how many cars went by, what time and how fast. It'll give us a weekly report. And we can bring that back to the towns or the villages, depending on who's.
Plus you can put it on, be on the lookout for if you know a particular area the vehicle may be in, you can.
Well, that would be the LPR.
LPR, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that one will record the license plates of every car that goes by.
Nice.
Very useful tool for us. The only other thing I did want to mention, we're still compiling last year's totals, but our civil division brought up last year, I think, it needs to be mentioned that they did a lot of work this year. They handled over 300 family court papers. They took in over $535,000. They handled over 3,954 pistol permit transactions. They put 1,242 civil papers on the road for service, served 105 warrants of eviction, and served 137 orders of protection. So,
Wow.
so they've had a busy year as well. Been extra busy for all of us. So, that's all I got. Thank you all for your.
What was the total count, Sheriff? In the jail?
In the jail, today's 38. 38.
Perfect. We still don't have enough female COs.
We have plenty of female COs. The pod is near completion. There's some screws missing, and we need about 6 more COs to man it, regardless of what their gender is.
Okay. And then those people, we wouldn't have to be board, or we wouldn't be boarding anybody out.
Correct.
Females out.
How many are reporting out now?
I did it daily.
And I did today's 6, I think.
Got 2 more days, so we should be 11.
Oh, out.
11 females.
We have a lot of females, but
So that's 48. So
Equity.
Well,
America's all about equity.
identify.
usually we don't have that many females.
Bad girl, you Greene County, huh?
are you counting that? Are you counting the 11, not 39 or? 11's in that 39?
Yeah, the total is the total that we have. We're also, I think we still have one, I think, Ulster. We exchange every now and then. Columbia is looking to give us 1 or 2 tomorrow. And Dutchess is actually closing theirs in summer for a transition. I'm hopeful to get that pot open so we can take some of theirs. So. Hopefully.
Good.
Good.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
All right, on the proposed action items. First one, authorizing the purchase of LPR, which is a license plate reading camera system. Yeah, Martinez, Handle, Boomer,
Davis.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carry. And number two, authorization to purchase emergency fire and law enforcement dispatch software. So Lennon,
Lavera.
Rivera, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carry. Anything else to come before public safety?
Motion to close.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Got Lennon, Martinez. Return. Anything on that one?